Fernando Haddad is only here running for president because former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva couldn't be. The former mayor of São Paulo only became the Workers' Party candidate after the electoral court barred Lula from running. His opponents say he's just a stand-in and that Lula da Silva would effectively run the country from jail, where he's serving a 12-year sentence on corruption charges.
We were all given a mission by former President Lula, the mission of looking into the eyes of the people and helping them remember the good days we lived, because we built a different country together. And we'll tell the people, we feel the same pain. But it's not time to go back home with our heads down. We should hold our heads high and win this election.
His former deputy mayor, a current Communist Party official, argues that Haddad would serve as the head of a larger political movement.
This will be a government representing a project for Brazil of a group of political forces, and Lula is the biggest representation of this project. That includes parties like the Workers' Party and the Communist Party of Brazil. Fernando Haddad has his own qualifications to run a fantastic government, but I think he will always take Lula's opinion into account.
Before entering politics, the 55-year-old Haddad was a university professor with a degree in law, a master's degree in economics and a doctorate in philosophy. Paulo Arantes was his academic advisor during his PhD studies at the University of São Paulo.
When he was doing his PhD, his father fell ill and he had to take over the family business, which was a fabric wholesale shop. I remember him complaining about that. He was exhausted from reading until late at night after he closed the family shop.
After earning his PhD in 1996, Haddad ran the family business and taught at the university before entering politics. His first high-profile position was as education minister in Lula da Silva's government in 2005. He would go on to win his first run for office in 2012 as mayor of São Paulo. But 4 years later, he lost his re-election bid. Fernando Haddad's conciliatory style and modern image were key elements in the choice of his name to run for the Workers' Party. And he also has a big advantage in not having been touched by the corruption probes that hit his party and put many of its officials in jail, including former President Lula da Silva. If Haddad does reach the second round, a big question is whether his clean past would be enough to overcome the disappointment and disdain felt by much of Brazil's society towards the Workers' Party, known as PT.
In Brazil today, we have a clear-cut division in the society. A sector that hates PT, and I think that this is a problem, is a kind of an irrational hate against the PT, and it's very divisive, and so some people think that they won't vote for the PT. It doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter what can happen. It will be very difficult for him if he doesn't establish this bridge between the PT and between the other parties of the center.
Winning the election won't be easy for Fernando Haddad, but if he does, what comes next would likely be even more challenging, leading a country deeply hurt and divided by political and economic crisis, and forging a unifying path forward. Paulo Cabral, CGTN, São Paulo.